The San Francisco 49ers 2024 schedule is out. Jason and I will tell you why they're going to go 17-0 this season. Sprint Right Option Podcast starts right now.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Right Option Podcast. Oh my goodness, we are live. It is a new episode of the Sprint Right Option Podcast. One of the more exciting days of the 49ers offseason. We find out the order, the schedule, all that fun stuff. That's all we're talking about today is the 49ers schedule. Somebody I'd like to schedule a date with, Jason Aponte. How you doing, Jason?
I'm great. I think just give me a second here. I've got to pull up something very exciting, and we're going to start with this because the schedule itself has been leaked all day. It has been leaked all day, but something even more incredible has been leaked aside from the schedule. The schedule feels like peanuts compared to this. Just give me a second, and I will find it.
I wanted to make sure you saw it. I was going to mention it. I know exactly what you're pulling up. Shout out 49er Goldmine. Is that where this all started? Shout out that whole core group. Is that where we're leading Jason Aponte?
No, we're just gonna highlight the GOAT. That's it, man.
Like the GOAT.
That's it. It's taking forever for it to load up, but yeah, just keep talking and I'll get it.
We got it. Yeah, with a lot of content here. This is how we'll transition to it, Jason. A lot of content, teams pushing content out. The 49ers pushed their schedule release with, I believe it was Rita Oak, the artist from Reddit, the internet. We know her from the Jimmy Garoppolo series. But they released another video that I was watching as we went live that includes probably the most famous person on 49ers Twitter at this point, Steph Sanchez, that the 49ers have pushed
easily.
out. So
that's what I'm trying to pull up. Good God.
We're trying to get it. We got you guys.
For.
gotta get share screens are tough. I think no matter what stream it is, whether it's Teams, whether it's this, share screens are rough. I don't like share screens.
Just keep talking.
I'll keep talking. The 49ers, the schedule's out. We've known parts of it. We knew about the Jets Monday Night Football game. We knew about the Chiefs Week 7. We have a lot of clocks. We got it. We're done stalling. Jason Aponte pulling up the great clip that the 49ers Twitter page just posted on social media maybe 5 minutes ago. So I believe it's loading up still.
Yeah,
we got it.
Who knows? God.
I see it in the back. I see it. We're getting there. I just appreciate this is why the internet's so big, right? So good is Steph is able to use her little corner of the internet to start a very fun little joke, fun little impression of Nick Bosa. And because of it, 49ers call her out.
This is terrible podcasting.
Oh, hey, man, we're getting there. This is important. This just came up, though. This came up as we were introducing, so this isn't something we were prepped for. This posted as we were opening the show, so we apologize for not quite having it ready. Niners didn't warn us. Niners should have warned us. Oh, and Jason is gone. That's okay. Hey, we're going to talk 49ers schedule while we're trying to get that figured out. No biggie. The schedule has come out. Obviously, a lot of it has been pre-release, leaked, all that. We know some of the games, but now we know all 17. So let's just get into it. We'll wait for Jason to jump back in. I will talk at you guys for a few minutes here. The 49ers schedule is officially out. We're going to just go month by month, 4 games at a time like we usually do here on the Sprint Right Option podcast. As Joseph, thank you very much. We appreciate the donation. Flying out to Buffalo for Sunday Night Football 12-1, literally on your birthday. That's huge. Last year, just to share this, we had Joseph. Last year, the Niners, I didn't go to Seattle, but the Niners played that Thanksgiving game on my birthday. Something special about not only a Niner game, but a big game on your birthday. Shout out Joseph going out to Sunday Night Football for that. What is that? That's the Week 13 game in Buffalo. Jason, we're back. How you doing? Is it working? If we're not going to get it, we'll worry about it. We'll try and get it to you at some point. We'll just start diving into the schedule at this point, and if we get it, we'll get it.
I think it's working right now. We just have to give it a sec. I have no idea what's happening, man.
We've never had this big of issues with share screen. We've done share screens in the past. I don't know what's going on.
Thank you for the donation, Joseph. Yeah, flying out to Buffalo for Sunday Night Football. December is rough, man. I couldn't see myself going to Buffalo or Green Bay at any time. At around that time, just not all right. Not gonna happen. You guys got to check it out
Yeah,
I wanted to do it, but I don't know what's going on. But yeah, not gonna happen,
I-
unfortunately.
I'll,
But
I'll
shout out
work
to
on.
Steph, man.
I'll work on dropping the link in the chat so people can get to
Yeah,
it. How about that, Jason?
yeah.
Well, as we always do, let's look at the Niners schedule. We go 4 games at a time. I think that's the easiest way to break it down. And the NFL schedule makers gave the Niners a nice even break in the middle, and that's very nice. But we'll get to that. First 4 games of the season for the San Francisco 49ers: 2 road, 2 home. They open the season Monday Night Football against the New York Jets. We already knew that. We'll talk about that in a second. What we didn't know: Week 2 in Minnesota, September 15th. Week 3 at the Los Angeles Rams, September 22nd. And then week 4 versus the Patriots. That is a home game, September 29th. That's a 10 a.m. start against the Vikings, 125 against the Rams, 105 against the Patriots. Not to be that guy, Jason, because I think we're going to do this a lot. 4-0, light work, right? That's what we're like. The Jets are a little concerning just because Aaron Rodgers, he's the boogeyman to me, at least. Still, I don't know why he's not really helping his case on that. But the opening stretch, I think the biggest concern for at least 49ers Twitter that I've seen, I don't see this as an issue. Is people don't like that the Niners have that Vikings game at 10 a.m. after a Monday night game. I don't see the difference in 3 hours between a 10 a.m., 1 p.m. start. So, Jason, first month of the season, what do you have your eye on? What are you looking forward to? Who's the game? Who's the big game of the month in the first month of the season?
I think it's the Jets, obviously, right off the bat. I mean, I believe it was the ESPN analyst who said that the 49ers and the Jets have the 2 best rosters in the NFL. I don't know if I agree, but I think it can be argued. And I think that's on the Jets side, which where I disagree. But when you look at the team and the way that they have 2 really good corners, hello DJ Reed, revenge game, Quinnen Williams, Javon Kinlaw, Solomon Thomas, obviously 2 great linebackers, and obviously Aaron Rodgers and those weapons. I think it's going to be really cool right off the bat to see what this team is going to look like against a very good defense. That even though last year the offense wasn't great because of obviously Aaron Rodgers being injured, number 4 in overall DVOA, a good start right away off the bat.
Yeah, not to take early September content, Jason Aponte, but I have the list of whom's revenge game it is for that. Very early, I know. Obviously, Robert Saleh is there. Jets defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, he is going to be a whom's revenge game, former 49er linebacker. And then you mentioned Kinlaw, Solomon Thomas, DJ Reed, Marcelino McCrary-Ball. That's another name that we've talked about in the past. And then Isaiah Oliver is another one. So it's a big homecoming for a few former 49ers. I'm personally excited. I think the Rams, obviously, we're very excited for that game, Jason, because it's a division game. We like it. I'm excited to see these young quarterbacks, JJ McCarthy, Drake May, having to take on this 49ers defense. It's going to be obviously I am more excited about facing those quarterbacks than I am, say, facing Caleb Williams in week 14, where you have 3 months of the season under your belt as a rookie quarterback. JJ McCarthy in week 2 having to face a 49ers defense that is this defense that we know of. I feel good about this first month. Dare I say, I feel good about the entire schedule. I think that's the benefit of having a really good football team that you watch and support. The Niners can win any game. But yeah, this first month, especially with the 2 rookie quarterbacks, it feels good. And then we'll see what the Rams look like. That's obviously a bit of a domination. You have 2 asterisk games, and they're obviously the NFC Championship game and then the Carson Wentz game that they just lost. Other than that, pure domination. We'll see what the Rams look like early on in the season. I like facing divisional matchups earlier in the season than later in the season. Every team's really working out the kinks. Niners will be too. They got a lot of new players. But the Vikings and Patriots, I think those are the 2 games. Obviously, outside the Jets, obviously exciting. Week 1, Monday night, all that fun stuff. But seeing the rookie quarterbacks against the 49ers defense should be very, very fun.
Oh, so Sam Darnold's not starting?
Oh, that's right. Sam Darnold, whom's revenge game, huh? Ooh, do you think do you think they're starting Sam Darnold? Is that your thought?
No, today out of camp with the Vikings, they said they have a step-by-step plan for JJ McCarthy that if he doesn't, progress the way that they want, then it will be Sam Darnold. But if he does, they are preparing to start him. So I guess we're gonna find out. But I think it would be a lot more funny if Sam Darnold started. The
I
the,
don't
the
want.
Vikings have the Vikings have a chance to do the most hilarious thing in the world.
Yeah, I don't know if I want. I'd rather face McCarthy now because I don't want to lose to Sam Darnold in week 2 of the season. I don't know if that sounds fun to me. That's not a good boost, but no, I'm not. I dare I say, Jason, I watched the Carson Wentz Rams game against the Niners where the Niners lost. Not too concerned about Sam Darnold at this point. I don't know if we should have been concerned with him on the team, but definitely not concerned after seeing him for that one game.
Andrew, don't show confidence in your team against a mediocre quarterback because everybody's going to come at you and say that you're overlooking them as if we have any
Overlay.
sort of power over this. Because I'm still getting flack from 2 years ago again for the Falcons loss because I said, hey, I believe the 49ers are better than them. Like, why should I be worried? And then they lost, and
how
they're just like, you see, it's your fault. So don't discount any mediocre quarterback
how
because when you lose, it's your fault.
how dare you overlook Marcus Mariota in
How dare you have
2022?
confidence in your team that is clearly better than another team? How dare you guys? I don't understand the audacity.
It's also May 15th. None of these games mean anything. They mean something because they're on the schedule. This is the prime period to overlook everybody. As I said, first thing I do when a schedule comes out is you just draw the 17 W's and say,
Yeah,
oh, look at that. We won all of them. We
20.
look nice and easy.
20.
So that's September. Good little month. Nice little month. 3-1, 4-0, somewhere in there in that stretch. I think that's the likeliest scenario for the 49ers. October gets a little weird. October 6th, week 5, they have the Cardinals at home before going up Thursday night to face the Seattle Seahawks. Back-to-back years against the Seattle Seahawks on a Thursday night. Last year, got to remember Thanksgiving. Week 7, the Chiefs, October 20th at home before they close out October on October 27th. A Sunday night tilt against the Dallas Cowboys. I don't want to talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs have done enough mental damage to me this offseason where we don't need to talk about that game right now. I think I'll save my energy for the October podcast where ideally we have BJ and Haley joining us to talk 49ers Chiefs. So I don't want to talk about any of that stuff because that game is not going to be fun to watch. Whether the Niners win or not, that's not going to be a fun game to watch. This might be my least favorite month of the season. Maybe later. We'll see. I don't know. I just open the month consecutive division games and then close the month with, I know the Cowboys and the meme, the Niners always beat the Cowboys, but it's May. We can say 2 very good football teams. That's going to be a tough month. And that could be a very important month for seeding. I don't necessarily think you can, make the playoffs in the first few months of the season, but you could definitely lose positioning. That's going to be an important month. I know the Cardinals the Cardinals are the Cardinals, but the Cardinals are at a point where I think they're one of those teams that aren't great, but I think they're the definition of any given Sunday. Any given Sunday, I think they could be any given team if they play their best game. And I just don't want to run into the Cardinals on a good day because that could be an embarrassing thing. So I think this is going to be a tough month, the month of October. Jason, what do you think?
I think it's important to highlight that the Chiefs and Cowboys will be coming off of a bye,
Mhm.
going into those games back to back. And this seems like a repeat of last year in which the 49ers faced 5 teams that were coming off a bye, had some of the longest travel, which they're also, I believe, fourth in again. Um, it's less about the opponent and more about the stress of traveling and moving around more than anything. If I had to pick a loss here, I'm probably going to pick them to lose against the Kansas City Chiefs right now, just based on how things just have gone. It just seems like they never find a way to get it done. Obviously, when we get closer to the game itself, that can change. Based on what's happening right there. I think seeing the Chiefs early in the season might be a little bit of fool's gold because they don't tend to play their best football
Mhm.
until later in the season, depending on how they are physically. But either way, I mean, I think it's just important to highlight that the 49ers continue to run into teams coming off of the bye. It's the same thing that happened with Cincinnati, and they had to travel to Minnesota, all of those things. I think that's the part that we should really be more focused on as opposed to the opponents, because opponents are going to vary, depth charts are going to change, teams are going to look different as we get closer to these games, from injuries, from the way they've been playing.
Yeah.
But I think the opponents thing and the opponents off of bye and the whole travel thing, that's not going to change, and I think that's the part that's a little bit more concerning than the opponents themselves.
Well, even too, because what I don't have the stat in front of me, not a Chiefs podcast, but the Chiefs record or Andy Reid's record off of bye weeks. That's something of legend, I believe. It's very good, so that's concerning. The Cowboy game, I'm excited that that's a Sunday night game. I think it'll be fun to be able to smash the Cowboys again on national television. It'll be
Yep.
cool. But you mentioned off the bye week, that's a great concern. You mentioned yes, Kansas City might not be at full staff entering that game. We saw it all. Remember all of last season? We're like, this Chiefs team isn't the same, Jason. Like we were saying that up until December. Hey, this Chiefs team isn't the same. So it could be the same sort of thing where maybe the Niners get that chance to beat them. But historically, it hasn't been well. I looked it up, including the playoffs. The 49ers have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs once since high definition television has become a standard. One time, and that was an Alex Smith-led game for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's how long ago it was. So, like, traditionally, it's not a good matchup. And God, to make it worse, I said I didn't want to talk about it, Jason, because I know I'm going to get, like, upset. But it feels like recently every loss has been important, a notable loss. Obviously, the one a couple of years ago, that was Christian McCaffrey's first game in the regular season. It was just a blowout. Niners got beat bad. The other regular season game they lost, that was a Jimmy Garoppolo injury game. So that was a big, important game. And then obviously we don't need to talk about the other two in between those ones. But I just don't like to play the Chiefs, and I'm not thrilled they're on our schedule. But obviously, Niners being as good as they are, they tend to play first-place teams. The Chiefs being one of those. No other AFC West opponents on this schedule. So that's the team you're stuck with. So unfortunately, Niners being good means more good teams. And that means the Chiefs this year, unfortunately.
And as we get closer to the game, I'm sure I'll talk myself into why the 49ers can win this game. It's just off the rip, like right now, like with the way that things have gone, it's very hard to stand and say, I know for a fact they're going to beat the Chiefs. If I had to pick a loss, I'm probably going to pick that one as a loss today, May 15th.
Yeah, that's probably the loss to me. Like if I had to pick one, obviously Niner podcast, we're going to say they lose 1 or 0 every time, but the big loss on this is the Chiefs. But other than that, the Thursday night game against the Seahawks doesn't thrill me. I don't like those. Actually, this is the third week in a row. The Niners have gone to Seattle for a Sunday night or a Thursday night, because 2 years ago, that was the Brock Purdy injury where we weren't sure if he was playing, and he cooked him up in Seattle. So 3
and
years
they won the West. That's a hat and t-shirt game.
Yeah, it was a hat and t-shirt game. Very good memory, Jason Aponte. So there that is. There's September, October in the books. The Niners, while the Chiefs and the Cowboys enter the game off of their bye week, the Niners will close the Cowboys with the Week 9 bye week. I know it's its own standalone thing. The perfect bye week, Jason Aponte. Middle of the season, nice and easy. I remember 2019, they had a Week 4 bye week, and that was tough, even though they went to the Super Bowl. But a Week 9 bye week, I love that. I'm going to use the bye week now to say, hey, Sprint Adoption Podcast, Jason Aponte YouTube channel. The schedule just came out. There's a million other Niners content creators you could be watching. You are here with the Sprint Right Option Podcast. We appreciate you for that. We love you for it. Now's a great time if you haven't subscribed to Jason Aponte's YouTube channel. A lot of great content. He has a podcast with Steph Sanchez. She's a celebrity now. Jason Aponte, Steph Sanchez. He has a podcast with Brad Graham. He's a celebrity. Jason Aponte, celebrity. Big people on Jason Aponte's YouTube channel. Now's a great time to subscribe if you haven't already. Hey, November, Jason, that's a good month. I know 2 good-looking men who have a birthday in the month of November. Might be the 2 of us. At Tampa Bay, which I feel like the Niners play Tampa Bay every year. I don't know why. It's a recent trend. They just play Tampa Bay. They then go into their second game against the Seahawks Week 11. That's going to be the home tilt. And then maybe the most concerning back-to-back games on the schedule. Chiefs Cowboys up there, but this one, not just back-to-back road games, not just back-to-back where they're playing, but back-to-back who they're playing. At the Packers Week 12, at the Bills on Sunday night, Week 13. I don't think I need to really lead into how concerning those games could be, Jason. So I'll let you talk those 2 games before we get into Buccaneers Seahawks for whatever we could say there. We kind of talked Seahawks already. Packers, Bills, Jason, what you think?
Man, this is the start of a tough stretch, right? The Packers in Green Bay and the Bills, right? So these are 2 cold weather games. You're going to be traveling from both. So, and obviously we expect the Packers to be better and just as much of a problem as they were the last time that the 49ers faced off with them. The Buffalo Bills always tend to be a team that is in the hunt. Just obviously haven't been able to finish the job or move on like the way, that we had thought. But yeah, those are 2 tough games back to back. And again, this is the mark of a time where it's gonna get a little dicey with a lot of tough games. And this is the cost of being a team that wins a lot of games and what the schedule is gonna look like next year. So yeah, the Packers game, that one starts it, and then the Bills one, that one on Sunday Night Football, which I believe a super chat. What's his name? I just want to make sure I get it right. Joseph is going to happy birthday. That day. But yeah, that starts a stretch of, man, this is almost like not the bird gauntlet that we were, hoping for last year. I mean, I guess because Philadelphia wasn't nearly as good, and again,
Yeah.
that's why early on talking about the matchup now is kind of, I don't want to say it doesn't make sense or it's dumb,
Mhm.
or anything like that, but things change and obviously teams aren't who you think they are. But that's the beginning of a tough stretch right there, that Packers and Bills game.
Yeah, and that NinersNation.com, Jason, you and I both write for it. I'm working on a kind of categorizing the games. And my big concern with these two games is the weather. Niners traditionally don't play well in weather games. Cleveland last year, I believe that was the weather game, and that wasn't was the Cleveland one that bad of weather? I don't remember necessarily, but I remember some weather conversation being had. Obviously, the famous Jason, I saw you tweeted put the Bears in week one, and somebody quote tweeted you with the famous photo with no lines on the field.
Yeah.
The Indianapolis game the year before, Washington the year before that. A lot of bad weather games that don't particularly have good memories. Niners haven't won many of them. I think the only one they won is that Washington game, and that was a 9-6 game. But what's concerning about these ones is the Niners are bad in weather games, but the teams they have played haven't been particularly great. The Colts in 22, the Bears in 22, and then obviously the Browns were fine last year. They were better than people thought, but it could be a potential bad weather game against two very good football teams. And I think the something about December in Buffalo, like I just feel like I can tell you right now on May 15th that December 1st at 5:20, or I guess 8:20 p.m. Eastern time in Buffalo, it's probably going to be like 10 degrees with a wind chill of -10 with blizzards. Like I don't like that game. And I think this stretch, and we'll get into December as well, Jason. This stretch is why the Niners need to win games early, because this
Yeah.
stretch can get hairy very fast. And we'll get into December. I want to make sure you get all your November thoughts out before we jump into December, though.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Tampa was a playoff team last year. Who knows what they're really going to be again? I mean, they have a chance to improve, but obviously I think we believe right now today on May 15th the 49ers are the better team.
Mhm.
And the Miami game is the other. No, that's at the end. That's the end of December, right?
Yeah, in December, yeah.
Mid-December. Okay, yeah. So yeah, the Tampa one is a little bit more like, yeah, another playoff team. That's something else that you have to, and the 49ers did beat them, but there were points in that game where it got a little hairy. So yeah, you can't dismiss the Bucks either, but they'll be in Tampa, so they don't have to worry about weather there. But yeah, I mean, again, right now on May 15th, when we're looking at this, we're looking at what we think these teams are gonna be. When you start to get into how they're playing, what they've been doing, that's when you really start to know who teams are, and you'll start to talk yourself into more 49ers wins as opposed to just doing, the fun little exercise that we're
Mhm.
doing, of just, hey, win, loss, win, loss,
Yeah.
win, loss right now.
Yeah, and that's what I like. I think for us, Jason, with the schedule, we just like to see how it kind of structures. Obviously, we've known the opponents since the end of the regular season, more or less, right? We've known who the Niners are playing. It's just how these lay out. Would I absolutely rather play at Green Bay, at Buffalo in September? Yes, 10 out of 10 times, because you don't know weather's more likely to be normal. Where now we know how this lays out, and you look at these individual games, and Jason, this is how we'll get into December, is where if you look at a list of names, just individually, Green Bay, Buffalo, Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami, Detroit, it's like, okay, you play a lot of good teams spread out, but now we have the schedule in front of us. And now, and I'm going to start middle November, you go at Green Bay, at Buffalo, versus the Bears to open December, versus the Rams, at Miami, versus Detroit, at the Cardinals. And I know the Cardinals are, as I said at the start of the episode, kind of a funky team. Don't know where they're
They
going to
give the
land at the end of
49ers
the season.
problems every time, no matter who's the quarterback. They give them
Divisional games.
problems, except
Yeah.
aside from the last Arizona game. I mean, Josh Dobbs for a little while had them in a game that the Cardinals are always going to be
Yes.
annoying.
Yes, but so if you just toss the Cardinals out, we're gonna let's just say, sake of argument, this is not a playoff team in 2024. But if you look at this stretch, even with Seattle, Green Bay, Buffalo, Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami, Detroit, that's 7 potential playoff teams right there, man. Like that is such a brutal stretch. And you mentioned, Jason, that we're talking about this in May. We don't know how things are going to look in December. I'm going to use the opposite argument with the Bears, though, because yes, we don't know what it looks like in December, but that's 3 months of Caleb Williams working on a rapport with DJ Moore. That's 3 months of Williams working with Keenan Allen, 3 months with Odunze. The Bears could be humming by that point if everything goes how it should be said. Now, Jason, it's the NFL. Everything doesn't go as said, but that Bears game, if I had to pick a trap game, because again, we mentioned Niners are a very good football team. They play a lot of very good football teams this season. If there's a trap game on this schedule, it's that Chicago Bear game in week 14. But by the time we get to it, we might not even be looking at it as a trap game because the Bears might just be good.
Yeah, the Bears are always going to be a sexy pick to, play well because of the weapons that they have. Obviously DeAndre Swift they added to as well. You add Williams and you mentioned Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. They're always going to be like that. And there's always those teams that we're overlooking now because we're just like, oh, they click, right? So again, like even right now, like in the same way that you're saying that could be a trap game, they could be a playoff team. There's always that team that nobody expects anything of, a la the Minnesota Vikings or something like that, that find a way to have things click. There's always a team that goes from worst to first, or makes a surprising run, or shows themselves to be a lot tougher than their record. Like they could have a losing record, but you can look at them and say, hey, that's a tough team right there. So again, like that's what makes this fun right now on May 15th is we're going off of what we think is going to happen on paper, but when you start to get into the season and start to see, there's always going to be that team that surprises you. There's always going to be that team that you thought was going to be good that ends up not. Like last year with Philadelphia, had to throw it in there. Like, the same thing. It's just like we're always going to look at it like, hey, this is a tough team. They may not be tough. Oh, this is a walkover. They may not be a walkover at all. So I think that's what's kind of fun about this exercise.
Yeah, no, and that's what it is, because it's fully possible that we get to December and maybe the Dolphins just aren't good. Maybe they fell flat. Tua doesn't play as what they thought. Like there's just a million outcomes. It's really fun to look at this. I think the game that I am most excited for outside of week 1, as I said, I think week 1's the game everybody's excited for because that's the first game of the season. I think the game I'm most excited for is that week 17 versus Detroit on Monday night. Because if there's going to be a game that might be the sneaky most important game of the season, there's a good chance, Jason, that could mean home field throughout the NFC playoffs. And that is going to be such a marquee game. I believe that's going to be, unless they change, I don't think they do week 18 Monday night games unless they change it this year. That's going to be the last Monday night game of the year unless it gets flexed out. Obviously, things can change to where the Lions aren't as good, Niners aren't as good, whatever. Could get flexed out. But if all things are as they should be, oh man, that's going to be such a good. That's going to be as close to like a playoff feeling game that you can get in the regular season as you can get, because it could have the Lions could be playing for the 1 seed, the Niners could be playing for the 1 seed, the Lions could be playing for the division. Both teams could have everything sewn up by that point, so it could just be both teams trying not to get hurt. Like there's so many outcomes, but man, just the possibility of having. I mean, you remember the electricity of that week 17 Niners Seattle. I don't have to tell you the story in 2019. We all remember the game. We love Dre Greenlaw for it. But like to have that potential where like, hey, this game could mean a ton for both sides, especially a Lions team that has a lot to prove after, I don't know what happened in the NFC Championship game, Jason. They're going to want to come out and show it, especially if there's meaning to that game. I'm very, very excited for that Lions game.
Yeah, and the Lions and the Packers are a budding rivalry. Now, the way that I describe a rivalry is you can't call it a rivalry until you beat the other team, which is why I don't consider the Kansas City Chiefs a rival. The 49ers have to beat the Kansas City Chiefs to turn it into a rivalry, which is why at this point, I don't consider the Dallas Cowboys a rivalry because they have to beat the 49ers before it can become a rivalry. Right now, the Seattle Seahawks are not a rivalry. They have to beat the 49ers recently for it to be a rivalry. But the Lions and the Packers are the closest thing to a budding rivalry if they're able to get one over on the 49ers. They're the teams that are the closest in probably the rearview mirror of the 49ers. It's not the Cowboys. It's not the Eagles. It's not the Seahawks. It's those two teams. So that's what makes those games as interesting. And as you alluded to, these teams, the Lions and the 49ers, are as close as it gets in terms of talent and how close that game was. You can actually sit there and say, hey, this one is going to be for the number 1 seed. Everybody wants that coveted bye week. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. But the budding rivalries, like right now for the 49ers, are the Lions and the Packers. They have to get one over before we can say it's a rivalry. But I've already explained my reasoning as to why I don't think the 49ers and Chiefs are rivals and why I don't think the Cowboys are the 49ers rivals. You got to win a game first before you can call it a rivalry. Otherwise, it's a one-sided beef. You hate us, we don't hate you because you don't do anything to us.
So when I guess my question is, Jason, is when the Niners beat the Cowboys week 8, how fast does Micah Parsons say, well, you don't want to see us next time?
Yeah. Well, we all know he's great podcaster,
Great
sometimes
podcaster.
good football player. But again, I don't think anybody fears the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, the Green Bay Packers stomped all over them. They literally all they added this entire offseason was Tyler Guyton, and they brought back Zeke Elliott. Like that's it. Like literally, they added nothing. They added nothing to that team. And I understand you're gonna get Trevon Diggs back. I get that part. Obviously, that'll definitely help. That's the same team that was walking through the door last year, and all they did was add Zeke. So at least Zeke's last snap isn't going to be him getting bowled over on that horrible trick play as a Cowboy. But don't tell me that Tyler Guyton now and Zeke Elliott are what is going to move the needle for the Cowboys to not be frauds like they are. I don't. That part is not going to. That does not jive with me at all.
Not to make this a Cowboy podcast, but didn't Jerry Jones say they're like going all in this offseason?
All in, baby.
And they got Ezekiel Elliott and Tyler, which Tyler Guyton would have been a good pick for
Tyler
the Niners.
Guyton's fine. I mean, yeah. I mean, look again. You got a good offensive lineman for cheap. Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle, and Deuce Vaughn. It's a running back by committee. Eek.
I don't know, man. The NFC East is so weird this year because I just like that Philadelphia got better. The Cowboys just kind of sat there and like not to make this an NFC East podcast, but are the Commanders going to be better than the Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean the Commanders made substantial.
Don't sleep on those Commanders, dude.
The Commanders made substantial additions. The Cowboys just said run it back. Trevon Diggs is going to solve everything. That's all in, I guess, man. That's just the Dallas Cowboys. Not too worried about them.
So there's the Niners schedule, 6 primetime games. You're going to see the Niners a lot. That's what happens when they're a good football team. A lot of prime time, a lot of high quality football games. It's going to be another fun season. Jason, the schedule release, do you know how close we are to football season? Like we're going to get to June. We're going to start talking training camps and mini camps, and then July practices. Next thing you know, August, it's going to be football games, and then we're rolling again. The feel is coming back, Jay. Are you starting your fantasy draft boards right now? Is this the time of the year?
I literally was in a rookie draft right after the NFL draft. Like literally, like while I was in it, yeah. So rookie drafts and dynasty leagues, you just got to go start. So yeah, like I'm fully in on the rookie drafts right now, and that's part of the draft process. But redraft, that's far down the line. I don't know if I'm gonna do too many redraft leagues, if at all.
I'm so excited. I'm not a big fantasy football guy. I live for Jason Abante fantasy football updates. All the thought, not to make a group chat feel more important than it really is, because we're just a group of guys. There's nothing like waking up on a Sunday at like 9:00 and just seeing all 7 people in our chat. Hey, Jason, like
this player or this player,
and like I get all my fantasy updates as I wake up. I like it's nice. I like it.
Here you go.
Pasquini versus CB schedule replete. What? Oh, wait. Is that a slow pitch game? Oh, are you back? Is that
yes.
Is that Corbin?
Yes.
Is that Corbin?
It is.
Okay. That's who
CB
it is. That's
okay.
I've been meaning to reach out because I haven't noticed him out there Tuesday nights. He hasn't been in our leagues. Thank you. Shout out. That makes me happy. I'm happy you'll be out there. I'm very excited. We won. Who did we beat last night? We beat Team B last night, 10-5. What's your team name? Are you Team A or Team C? We got new name. Not to make this Zoso Sacramento softball. You guys went to Thursday, but you're back. So which team were you guys now? Because I'm excited. Well, I guess I could look at my schedule and find out. I guess I could find out who we're playing on 6/11, and I can. He find said, out. But we back
Tuesdays.
I'm very excited. The amateur hour. There we go. The same name and everything. I don't look at those schedules. I got to be texted by my teammates what time the game is day of. So shout out Corbin. I'm very excited. That excites me because I've been meaning to ask. Not to make this about my softball league, Jason. You want to talk about something you want to talk about now? I got really excited. There.
Honestly, just go check out the 49ers video with Steph. Yes. I love Steph so much, man. She deserves it. That is so like to see the progress from literally just making those videos to us talking to John Lynch at the combine, to him recognizing Steph, to them fully going out and trying to get Steph to do this, and Nick Bosa being on board, and then being asked at the Super Bowl about understanding if he's ever seen Steph do it. Man, again, what a time, man. And I'm so proud of Steph. Steph, I know you're probably working right now and you're probably live, but I love you and I'm so happy for you.
I saw the tease yesterday that they had of Nick Bosa on that boat with the
Mhm.
shorts, and I'm like, "Oh, are they teasing a Jason Ponte thing?" But no,
No.
shout out, Steph, shout out, Steph. We love Steph. That's amazing, man. Like as I said, it's kind of crazy how many things just start as a video, right?
Yeah.
She's probably just like, do this once, see what happens, and it led to her getting the chance to meet Nick Bosa. Like it's just amazing things can happen on the internet. And honestly, it couldn't have happened to a nicer person. Steph Sanchez, one of the
Yep.
best on 49ers Twitter. We're probably getting out of here in the next couple minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do raids on this, but like go there when we wrap up.
Go over if Steph's still on, go over there and tell him the Sprint Right Option podcast sent you. Go on over, subscribe to her channel, like all her stuff as well too. So just let her know that we sent you.
Yeah, let her know. I'm checking to see if she is still live right now.
Yeah. Go to Steph's stuff right now.
I'm going to wrap it up right now. We're going to get out of here. Go watch Steph. Tell her the SRO sent her. We love you guys. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners. Happy schedule day to those to celebrate.
17-0 guaranteed as of May 15th. That'll change over the next few months.
20-0, baby.
20-0, you're right.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it.